Hello and welcome to my channel. I am super excited that you are here with me today. I have a special guest joining me. Her name is Imbal Psychic, and she is an astrologist and psychic. And I met her on Instagram, I want to say 3 years ago. So she's going to join me in just a minute, and we're going to talk all about light work and being a psychic. And she even reads crystal balls and reads tarot, and she's one of my favorites. I just love her vibe. And one of the things I also wanted to bring her on for was because she's a mom of 4. And I believe 3 of them are Pisces. So hold tight, here we go.
Hey,
How are
how,
you?
I'm great. You look beautiful. How are you
Thank you.
feeling?
I'm good. So I've already started recording because I was like, I don't want to forget to record and I can come in and chop this out. I just wanted to say hi first before we start. And thank you so much for coming on. I've been so sporadic with the channel or whatever, and it's like something I'm doing and gearing up, and you know me, new name
Yeah,
every week. You're like, I sent it to Manifest Mindfully. I'm like, yes, I can't even get into that account.
yeah, but if you do, there's a message for me there.
So I'm gonna just say hi. We're just gonna have a very casual chat. This is like
Yeah,
nothing to even get nerved out about. And I don't even imagine very long. I just wanted to bring you on because I thought it'd be like really fun to talk about what you do and talk about through the lens of a parent also, because that's sort of where you brought this up in a reading like a couple years ago about me and kids.
oh,
And I was like, yeah. And then it's kind of something I think is going to happen if it's not already happening in some other dimension. Like it's really weird how this is kind of
wow.
coming together. So that's why I was even like, I don't have to share that story. I just wanted to tell you. Anyway,
Yeah, amazing.
yeah. So I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself so that I used to do a podcast and I never did research into how people wanted to be introduced, because when I watch shows, it's the most boring part. I'm always like, get to who, just do the show.
Yeah,
So I'm like, say what you want to say about yourself and then we'll just get started. I always hate.
yeah. You're like, dude, we're already here. You don't have to sell anything. I've sat down. I have a cup of coffee. I'm not going anywhere. You might as well get on with
Yeah,
things.
get on with it. I don't need to. I mean, and especially in psychology circles, those are the worst because they'll be talking.
Oh,
Hello, this is
what
Dr.
about their
So and so, all their
qualifications?
qualifications. And I'm like, I'm
You,
already
you,
sitting here listening
you're
to you.
safe with me. I have none. None. Like so close to zero that even zero blushes when I'm around. I think my
Stop.
my Reiki 1 and 2 are literally my only qualifications. I've got Sagittarius moon, and I've got such an aversion to committing myself to like any kind of course of studies, which is ironic because in order to sort of get really good at tarot, I sat in my bed sit for 5 years.
That's what I'm saying. It's not
and
that you
did
didn't
nothing
study something.
else.
Yeah, it's just that it's not the formal training, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So,
yeah. But no,
um,
there are no picture frames behind me with my name in. Nothing, nothing.
yeah.
I've got nothing
Well, you'd
important
be
to say.
proud of me. I just quit doing my MBA before I finished.
Wow.
I had 3
Amazing.
more courses left, and I was like, why am I doing this? And I was like, I don't know. I don't, any of the
Yeah.
reasons I started don't exist anymore.
I find that so massively important, like really since childhood. Is it something I want to do? Is it something that, which is why I'm with zero qualifications. I would have been the first in my family to go to university because obviously, it was first immigration and then the people that, were raised hardworking and everything. And then I came, I was the first granddaughter on both sides and so clever. I skipped a class at primary school and she'll go to university, and I was like, not on your Nelly. No, there is nothing you can do to entrap me in a dusty old room for the best years of my life. I'm going drinking. And I did.
I did that too.
And I really recommend it.
It teaches you more than you'll learn in the regular stuffy classroom.
I'm
Well, I
sure
gotta
it
tell you, you
taught
shared
me
so much
more.
good stuff now, though. I might just keep this in.
Oh, yeah, that's really, really okay.
Can we
That's
just
really
start
okay.
now and say hi, everybody? Thanks for joining us.
That's good with me. You know what? You can start right from the beginning. I don't mind. I don't have the need to censor anything because I believe that for all of us as light workers, our uniqueness and our brand and our rapport with each of our individual clients and customers is because of who we are, not because of what we obtained or what we were born to or who we married or the place that we live. And that is also why I don't believe in competition at all. I think the whole concept of competition is ridiculous.
It is.
How is it remotely possible that something that is meant for me will end up with you, or something that is meant for you will end up with me? That's preposterous.
Or the
That's
scarcity mindset that there's only so much to go around. I have clients that are like, I have to get all these clients before they bring in the new salesperson because, and I'm like, there,
no,
stop
you
it. Please
don't.
stop it.
Yeah,
There's
they're
so
coming
much,
anyway.
there's more than enough for everyone kind of mentality. But I love your take on it. But do introduce yourself a little bit because
Let
I
me.
will say
Yeah.
you're one of my favorite all-time astrologists, psychics. On
Oh,
Instagram is where we met, I think 3 years ago, I think.
yeah, yeah. When I was
And
really new on there.
so I've been following you, I've gotten readings from you, and I'm like, oh, come on my channel, and you are here, so thank you. And
Not
yeah,
at
so you
all.
introduce yourself though, so I don't mess up.
Right. In way of introduction, my name is Inbal. It's my real name that was given to me at birth by my birth mother, who also raised me. I am from Israel. I was raised in a very secular, very non-spiritual Jewish family. I came to the UK via Greece when I was 20 after my national service, and somewhere along the line, I picked up a deck of tarot cards. And I am now 47 years old and I haven't put down that deck of tarot cards. And so I am an intuitive tarot reader. I specialize in the soft tarot. And through the tarot, that opened my eyes to astrology and to color therapy and to numerology because the tarot is so incredible. It has all of it right baked in. So that's who I am. That's what I do. I live in the north of England with my four adorable children, three of whom are Pisces, like me and my husband,
And me.
and with and you, yeah. None of us are February Pisces, like you. You're February Pisces,
Yeah.
aren't
Yeah.
you? Yeah, a little different, a little more special, more sprinkle of special. And this has been my full-time single job for the last 22 years. And so I met you when I was new to social media 3 years ago because I resisted it for the longest time. I was so frightened of the fakery and the way that in my belief people would put their filtered inauthentic selves on, and I burst onto Instagram as a first port of call. And at least at the time, it was an incredibly authentic medium where within the light worker community, at the very least, people really rewarded authenticity. And it wasn't people with lots of filters and cute pictures
Oh
that
no.
would get all the all the friendliness and all the
The
interaction,
pointing
but
at
it
the
was
words.
but yeah, it was just the kind of regular people that were passionate about the tarot. And what Instagram did for me is finally get me a community, because the specific deck of cards that I love is kind of niche, and the way that I work is kind of niche. And England is not super small, but I lived in London and then I moved to Yorkshire, where I live in a little village. So opening this window to an international community where I've got lots of friends that do this in the States, and lots of friends who do this in India, and lots of friends who do this in Canada, and even one or two Israeli practitioners. That was really, really exciting for me. Oh, and Spain and Greece, actually. Um,
Australia.
yeah, oh yeah, that's right.
I've
Yeah,
seen you
we do
shout
have
out
some
to people
Australian.
in Australia.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, there's quite a few like incredible ladies there, very empowered. So that's kind of where I am now.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's, so one of the things, I mean, there's so much to talk about, but one of the things I really was like, please come on and let's talk about being a mom as a
Mhm.
light worker because, yeah, you have 4 kids, which is amazing. All by itself is amazing. But how does what you do impact how you parent? Because I
I
think
think
that we have a different point of view about being parents than people who aren't in our
perhaps,
work, you know?
perhaps. So first of all, in terms of there being 4 kids, I think it's always important for me to check my privilege. I'm married, able-bodied, earning mom. So I've got 4 kids who I parent with my live-in husband in the relative luxury of a roof over our heads. Lots of leaks because both of us are Pisces and we can't fix things. But I think it's so important for me to check my privilege because a lot of my clients and a lot of my friends are single moms, and I know that you are a single mom at the beginning, and it's not the same at all.
Yeah, no.
At all, because I get to the end of the day and I've got a sounding board or someone to make this for me because it has been hard. Or about a year ago, my work picked up a lot. So I had an extra parent working from home because of COVID that I could say, could you please drop them off to school in the morning? And he does. So within that context, um, I think as light workers, we do parent differently because we already programmed ourselves to tune into people.
Yeah.
And so if we start from the very, very early days, when I think as a young mom, you look at this screaming little thing and you think, why is it making this noise? What can it be? And when I teach tarot, I have this method that I don't know if it's normal or not, but it's like a Rolodex. Now, hands up whoever's old enough to remember Rolodexes that's it, you and me, and that is it. They were mostly, I think, what would you call it? A literary tool. A literary tool, like in
Sure.
movies, to to show that you're looking for something very intently. It used to be kind of a circular device of notes where you would look for somebody's phone number or address, and when I do a reading, because each card would have billions of different meanings that it could be, sometimes I'll open my mouth and I'm not really sure what word has to come out. So I go through all the words that it can be, and then my brain kind of stops at bing, 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 bing. That's the right one. And
Right.
then I say it and I know that it is correct. So, in the exact same way, I'm already trained in doing this. So, when my firstborn daughter, who was also a Pisces, would scream, I literally had a list, like a little Rolodex: hungry, wet, too cold, too hot, bored,
Bored.
right?
Yeah.
Bored is valid. Bored is valid.
Mhm.
Bored, frightened. I remember that it was a list of 7, and I would kind of ding, 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 go through all of them and know which one it is. Whereas I think for parents who aren't used to thinking in a very flexible way, it
Right.
would be a struggle.
Right.
And I think that kind of reader, light worker way catches up with you in all the different pivots that you make throughout parenting. And obviously, my eldest is not even 12 yet. So I think I haven't got to the meaty stuff quite
I don't
yet.
even know how though you could have 4 kids so cool. Like they're little. Yeah,
They're little, they're
12,
little.
12 is starting to get not as little, but that's a lot. I mean, that's,
Yeah,
I don't know. I have
they
one
have
and
the
then
same birthday. The
13 years
biggest,
later, one.
right. So two, yeah, two only children.
Yes, 2 only
An
children.
only
That's
child
me.
and
Right.
another
And you've
only
had
child.
4 and they're all
And
growing
they're
up
all the
together.
same. They're all the same. But what's wonderful about it, so the last one was born on the first one's 7th birthday. So they're all inside exactly 7 years. And that means that really still to now, I can do activities that all of them will enjoy. And that is in itself such a huge privilege, because when the smallest one was born, all the big ones were into going to play centers. So that was great because I could just sort of sit there, rocking the baby. And they were ages at the time 2, 5, and 7. And they were all sort of running right in the play center. Now that the smallest one is a little under 5, nearly 5, we can go to a water park. And everyone still enjoys the splashing and the water park, or to the actual park with the slides. So it is wonderful to have them all grow up
Yeah,
together.
but it seems more overwhelming to me, but everybody says what you just said, they can kind of play with each other and that it's not
Exactly.
as hard, which I'll just have to believe you. I
I
I
have,
don't
like
know.
I said, I have a lot of friends who are single moms or single moms to one child, sort of the smallest family unit there is. And when you are in that setting, you have to entertain the child all the time.
It's hard. Yeah.
All the time. Exactly. You must be very entertaining.
I don't know if my kids would say that, but yeah, when they were little for sure. But I cut you off before you were saying they have the same birthday. Who has the same birthday?
Yes, so my biggest and my smallest have the same birthday. They're both on the 18th of March. And when she was 2 years old, the biggest one, when she was almost 2 years old, I was expecting my second, her first brother, to arrive towards the very end of March. That didn't quite work that way. And I said, he'll probably arrive on the 16th. I could feel that he was coming, and I thought my birthday is on the 15th. So I'm sure he'll just miss it and come on the 16th. And 15 minutes before the 15th entered, I remember I was sort of up doing readings on the thing I'm miming is a desktop computer for viewers from the future who completely forgot about desktop computers. Um, so that was me doing desktop, doing my email readings. And I remember my husband behind me wrapping my birthday presents, with 15 minutes to go. I think that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, what did I eat to get this terrible tummy ache that's just coming and going? And in between mini readings, I'd walk around breathing, going, what is this tummy ache? Oh, it's gone now. And I'd sit, and it was just when I finished the mini readings and I had a second to engage my brain about my stuff, not about client stuff, that I thought, no, he can't come and take my birthday away from me. And he did. So me and my almost 10-year-old are together on March the 15th. My biggest and my smallest are together on March the 18th. So we've got a very intense few days. My husband is March 4th. And then I've got one Capricorn who I very much hope will pay for the finest nursing home when we are at the winter of our years.
That's right. That's the one that's going to bring it in.
Exactly. The Capricorn is going to have to be my favorite child because
Aw,
that's the child that will take care of me. And all the others, I'm assuming, will go volunteering at, like,
be
oh, what
creative
do you
and
go? Yeah, exactly. Artists, Doctors Without Borders, what's it called? Médecins Sans Frontières, just
yes.
Pisces, kind of activities.
Oh, that's beautiful
Um,
though.
so yeah, that's how we've got all the birthdays together, and it does get very, very exciting, and they do like sharing with each other,
That's
to my
wonderful.
surprise.
Yeah. Well, I remember when my daughter was born, looking at her, and I get the whole, it's my stuff. It's projecting onto her, but like I'm looking at her like, who are you?
Yeah.
Who are you? And I've shared that with some friends over the years, and everyone's like, that's such a strange question to ask, baby. And I'm like, is it?
It's
I
not a
don't think
it's
it
not a
is.
baby, it's a person. It's
Right?
already an entire person.
Right.
And I think the sooner you get to kind of figure out what they're about, the easier your journey is. So I say
Yes.
that to friends, that the first 4 weeks are a whole entire mess. You won't figure anything out. The first 4 weeks is just, you know,
Don't even
it,
remember the first 4
it,
weeks.
that's it.
Yeah.
It's blood and screaming, screaming and blood and screaming. And then the second 4 weeks, you start to see a little person kind of emerge from all the screaming and blood. And for me, after 8 weeks with the baby, or at 8 weeks, I kind of knew what they were about. I kind of knew which one was the one that liked to cuddle, and which one was the one that liked to laugh, which one liked to listen, and which one liked to babble, because some of them babbled very, very early. And I think at 8 weeks, they already show you who they are,
Isn't
whether
that
they enjoy
amazing?
routine. I think it's incredible. But if those people that went, oh, that's a strange question,
Mhm.
they may have not even tried to find the person inside the baby.
I think that some people, and this is kind of what I wanted to know what you thought about this, because I think some people think, are under the delusion that they are creating this person, that they
Oh,
are that much um, molding and shaping,
influential. Yeah.
influencing, which is, I I'm not denying there's influence. I mean, but I just think it's probably
Mm,
less than people realize.
a lot less.
Because we kind of come
Because
down here with a mission, right? I mean,
it's not just that. I think, what I ran is probably as close to a scientific experiment as possible. They were all born to the same area, to the same parents who worked in the same careers, as each other, in the same environment, in the same, I guess, religious leanings or lack of religious leanings. So mine have all had the exact same start, and they are so different to each other. And if I were to describe each of them in 3 words, there would be very little crossover between those words. And some are smilier than others, and some are more mathematically academic than others, and some are better at writing than others, and some are more courageous, and some are more thoughtful.
yeah.
And that's from having the exact same background as each other. So I think my little laboratory experiment would prove that my influence is very little. I didn't even get to like mature that much between children. 2 years is nothing. You
Right.
barely manage to put one child down before you pick the next one out of the cot. So I don't think I transformed in anything.
That's that's my you have strengthened my case. I mean, that's what I think. Like, yeah, I think that each of us is our own person, and we kind of start out that way more than I think people give credit for. And but to know that would be so. Here's where I'm thinking, like, because the people I work with often have these beliefs that are holding them back.
Yeah.
that they developed when they were children. And they adopted a lot of them from their parents, or they were told certain things that became the rules, and to strip them of that, to decondition, to step outside or set that aside, is the challenge. And like,
It's a
wouldn't it be
very scary process.
well, wouldn't it be great if we didn't do that to the kids in the first place?
I think a certain amount of rules they'll just absorb because they look up to their caregivers for answers. So stuff like, should you be um, a people pleaser or somebody that follows the rules or not? I think that's something that we can't help but imprint from ourselves onto the
To
child.
keep them alive.
As
Yeah.
much as possible.
Yeah.
But I recall with my firstborn, she's very much a rule follower. And when she was 3.5, her nursery teacher called me to one side and said, "Do you mind when you're at school to not speak Hebrew to her?" And of course, I was very furious and expressed that fury to her, took my daughter home and said, "Do you know what Mrs. So-and-so asked me?" And she said, "Yes, not to speak Hebrew." And I said to her, "Do you know what I said to her?" And she said, "No." And I said, "I told her no." And she was mind blown at 3.5 because she didn't realize you could say no to a teacher. And I said, "You can
Right.
and you must," because before I got to indoctrinate her with refusal, the school environment would have indoctrinated her with compliance. And that's really not my thing. So, Sagittarius moon, I don't think so. So, we kind of swept over the very overt anti-Semitism there because that's for a different, for a different conversation.
Yeah.
But the certain a certain amount of I guess imprint is something that a family will put on a child, and if the family doesn't, everybody else around will as well. But I think it's it's very important to go through your rebellious stage or your questioning stage in your late teens, in your early 20s. Any other time works as well, just to know which bits are yours
Yeah.
and which bits are other people's, because it's, again, I hate to talk about myself, but I can see stuff that I can't strip off anymore. And I spent my own mother was very much a product of the 50s and really cared about the width of her waist and what goes in, which is why she was a lifelong smoker, which is why she's no longer with us.
Yeah.
And I spent maybe a decade in that rebellion, or maybe a decade and a half. At about 19, I stopped dieting, which again, let's sweep past the fact that at 15, I started dieting.
Right.
But about 19, I stopped dieting and I'm like, I'm not doing this anymore. And until, I don't know, maybe 30, maybe 35, I rebelled by getting very, very, very large.
Mm.
And at the time, a psychologist said to me that if I'm doing stuff to spite her, it's exactly the same as if I was doing stuff to comply with her, because I'm still not living my thing. I'm still
Yes.
somehow
She's somehow.
influenced by it. Yeah, she's still there.
Yes.
She's still there. And
Yes. You're still
and
giving her the control.
exactly.
Ah.
Exactly. So those things, I mean, I think it's a very delicate act of surgery to remove the layers of indoctrination from each individual person. That's obviously what you do. That's something that you clearly specialize at, so that people can live free. But I do wonder if I could ever be totally free from that really, really
Oh,
early.
yes, you could.
Oh,
I'm like, yes, you
I
could.
really, I really like
Yes,
to
you
hope
could.
one day I
I'll tell
could.
you, one of the things I talk about the most, and it's like the sooner you can embody it, not just learn it. It's not just I'll say something, you'll say, I already know, I've already done it. But I'm talking about when you really embody it is forgiveness. You forgive
Yeah,
her,
I had
you forgive
big
you.
struggle. Yeah.
When you really do that, it's whoosh, gone like magic. Which I want to get to for a minute.
Yes.
Um, because one of the things you do, which I think is amazing, and I know this is like super changing the subject,
Pivot. Fine by me.
but you read crystal balls.
Oh, yeah, I
I'm
do. Let me see
like,
if I've got one here.
I think that's amazing, and I think like I don't even know what you could say about that or explain it or read it or just to if you have it near you, great. I mean, but if you don't, that's okay
Yeah, I
too.
think I've got,
I
I
just was
must have
blown
at
away
least one
when
here.
I've seen you
There.
do that. I'm like, how do you do that?
Ah.
There you go.
So this guy is my favorite crystal ball that I bought for myself. I also have one that a friend had bought me, and it is clear. There it is. I think they're about the same size. Clear,
Oh wow.
cloudy, clear, cloudy. So I find it extremely easy to read with this. Oh, look, there's a random crystal here. I don't even know where that came from. Such a Pisces box, isn't it? There's just crystals falling out of it. Um, with the cloudy ball, I received a question or just a request for a message or whatever it is. And as I spin it around, I just read it like you would read the clouds when you look at them, because they're totally different or randomized shapes. So when I hold them a certain way, one shape will overlay another one, maybe create a letter or a figure or an image, or I
Wow.
might see my fingers through them or whatever is behind them. It's
Yeah,
funny
I've
because
been wondering, like, what do you see? Because I've seen you read it, and I'm like, are you seeing visions?
exactly like in a tarot card, I don't see visions. I make the physical view that I've got into a vision. I'll tell you how I understood that
Oh,
I could scry. Um, do you remember another elderly moment? Do you remember cathode ray kind of old TVs with curved screens that were a
yes.
bit greeny? So I used to live in a share house. I rented one of 4 rooms, and we had like a joint living room. And I used to see clients in the living room, and I would say the messages that I'd see in my tarot cards. And then I would sometimes look at the TV, and the way that things reflected in it were kind of twisted and wonky because of the curved screen.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, oh, this is funny. This looks like the letter R. Does the letter R mean anything to you? This is funny. This looks like a sycamore tree. Does a sycamore tree mean anything to you?
Wow.
And it would very often be a yes. And I thought, wow, what is this thing I'm doing?
Right.
And then a friend of mine made a black mirror. Have you seen black mirrors?
No.
So a black mirror, if you imagine like an antique clock face. So you imagine like a big grandfather clock, and then the clock face is covered with this curved glass.
Right.
And if you take that clock face and blacken one side of it with smoke so
Okay.
that it's completely black,
Right.
and you hold it, you can scry into it. So a friend of mine had made it for our witch circle, and we passed it around just to see what was there. So same thing, I would see actual regular things from the room reflect in it,
Right.
but my mind would make that leap
The
into
connections.
exactly, into
Ah,
creating those things that would then make sense. So I was able to do it with the TV, with the old TV, with a black mirror. I turned up for a job once. Now I'm self-employed, so I used to work at party. I didn't used to work at parties. I still work at parties, but
I know you still do.
but parties have been very few and far between, um,
I know with
for for
COVID.
for viral reasons, exactly.
Yeah.
But when I am asked, can you read? I was once asked, can you read um, champagne glasses? Can you read champagne glasses? I was like, sure. I thought I'll turn up and figure it out. I don't really know what they want, but I definitely want to get booked for that party.
Yeah.
So it was a launch by a big champagne company. It was a launch. It was like in Regent's Park Open Air Theatre, which if you even don't know what it is, which I didn't at the time, it sounds fantastic.
It
You
does.
definitely want that party on your resume. So I turned up, and they said, if somebody holds a glass of champagne, would you be able to read the bubbles? I was like, oh yeah, I'll bet I could. And I did, and I kind of pranced around and read people's champagne. And after
Mm.
the first couple of people had had their readings, they went kind of weird in the face. And I was like, what, was that not right? And they said, no, they thought they were sending us an actress that will pretend to do it. But obviously, the party planner received a request for somebody that could do readings, so she rang me.
Right.
Um,
So when you're
so
sitting there
that was,
telling them things that rang true to them, they're like, "Whoa."
yeah, how did you do that?
I thought you
I
were just
see
an
that you're
actress.
exactly. I am no actress. I am no actress. I was like, oh, that's really funny. I see you're the youngest of three and you're thinking of going for a career change, but oh, that's your boss over there. So let's be quiet about that. They're like pale. What? And the one
I
time I
love it.
turned
That's great.
turned up to a party with a beach theme, and it was the same kind of thing. Can you read sand? I was like, sure, I can. Turn up, figure it out. And they had um, like, those little Japanese sand,
Yeah.
um
That you
tiny
rake.
sand pits.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it was with colored sand. It was a little bit before the trend, for those that come, so maybe it was kind of new.
Wow.
And the lady who booked it, it was actually somebody who specifically booked psychics, but they didn't have anyone, I guess, who had the audacity to say sure when they said, would you read sand? So they called me in as reinforcement. So the boss of the company, who has lots of psychics that they would hire out, sat and said, can you do me a sample reading? The party's already going on. You're not going to send me home, but fine. And she just did a little heart, one with each finger. So I thought, okay, so this right hand is the hand that creates and the left hand is more the hand that receives. So I read that line, and I find that in readings, comparing and contrasting works better than absolute statements. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So your external personality is blah blah blah, as opposed to your internal personality, which is more like this and like that. And she was like, that's okay, you can stay. So I had not read crystal balls up until then, because I thought, well, it must be hard. It must be hard. Look at this. It's a
But you
blank
already
ball
can
with
read sand and
nothing.
bubbles. I would be like,
So when I bought this one for myself, I thought, oh, that's not so hard. That's just like the TV, and certainly much easier than champagne glass,
yeah.
and much easier than a noisy party
What do
with
you
a
do with the
little
clear one
thing.
though, if you don't have the
So,
clouds to look at?
so with the clear one, it's so much easier to get like all the colors. You see, oh, you see my face through
I
it.
see
Let
your
me move
face
my
upside
face
down.
away. Yeah, but now when my face is out of the picture, you see lots of different colors.
I see
You see
books.
shapes. Do the shapes mean something? But are they books? Let your let your mind flex a little bit. Are they turning into
Oh.
something else? Is it a
Oh, no,
ship?
it's
Is it
turning into like
flying
a spaceship.
space? Ah, I love that. So,
It
and
looks like
so
a little flying saucer with legs. Oh.
fabulous. And then you make the leap. You're like, okay, I see something that I can identify in my regular
You're an
mortal brain.
alien.
Or make the leap, jump a little bit. What else could a spaceship mean to you? What else could a spaceship mean for the person you're reading for? That's
Mm.
the leap
Maybe
for
how
me.
they
That's
travel
the
or
leap
something.
because you exactly, because even with tarot cards, you can read each card individually. You'll
Yeah.
have a good reading, but you won't have as much wow as when you make those leaps. And for me, those leaps, they're not like a gift, they're practice. Their practice makes perfect, because even with the most open-minded parents, I think as children, we all can make those leaps, but
Mm.
they'll be taken away because they're not very practical. They're actually the opposite of practical.
Right.
So those leaps of seeing something and going, wait, so this card has a triangle on the left side. This card has a triangle on the right side. Could it be? Wait, are you moving to Germany? Why? Why? I don't know. That's just how it leapt in my mind. And I think for anyone that has any kind of a creative talent, those leaps have to exist. For example, somebody who is an insanely positive and, empowered baker that will look at stuff and go, I know, I can definitely make a cake out of parsnip, which I've definitely seen on a baking show. And all the normal people would go, are you having a stroke? Don't you
Yeah. How's
remember
that?
what a parsnip is? But that baker would
Mm.
make the leap because they'll think, no, the parsnip, has a lot of sugar. I'm sure it will work just like
I
carrot
think
cake.
this is what
And it
makes you a
does.
good, better parent too. If you can make those leaps with your kids so that they don't get so they call it what do they call it now? They call it critical thinking skills, but I don't
Oh,
think it's critical thinking skills as much as this creative thinking skill. It's just thinking skills.
yeah.
Think.
Yeah.
Use your brain,
Yeah.
use your intuition, use your mind, use all of your yeah, it may not be gifts as much as like just your innate abilities.
I think it is.
Mm.
I think it is. And people ask me, is it a gift? Is it something that you're born with? Is it something that you can learn? And I say it's exactly like all the other creative stuff. I am a terrible dancer. I was not born with any dancing skills, but if there's music going, I'll get on a dance floor and do my thing. And I'm pretty sure that if I was ever booked on any of the dancing shows, I would not necessarily come last. Maybe, but not necessarily.
Right.
And in the exact same way, I think some people might be born unbelievably psychic or have the kind of upbringing that allows them to thrive in that kind of an environment. And some people can just kind of give it a bash. And some people will sit really, really quietly and study for a few years and become amazing at it. I
Yeah.
think all the creative.
Everybody has different process.
Exactly. And everyone's got maybe different birth gifts and different directions that their childhood will prepare them for. But you can go the other way. Anyone can go the other way. You can go the other way. It's fun going the other way.
Oh my gosh. All right. So I'm gonna tell us that we're gonna stop this, but you're gonna have to come back again because
I'm
I just
totally
love
in.
talking to you. I hope everyone's enjoyed this. I just love you. Everyone can go to Inbal Psychic. That's Inbaal.
Yeah, if
Two
if
A's.
you type it below, it'll probably be the easiest.
I will type it
But
below.
as long as you spell my name correctly, you can find me. Inbal.com is me. Inbal Psychic on Facebook is me. On Twitter is me. On Instagram is me. And even inbal@hotmail.com and inbal@gmail.com is
You're
me.
like
You want to avoid
Cher.
me?
You're like Cher or Madonna. You're like Imbal. I'm Imbal. There's
Just
there's
one name.
no last name
Yeah, I like to
required.
keep it simple.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Mwah. This was too much fun.
All right.